And if we look at our students, there's Kevin. We have our note that he's a new student as of January 6th. And when we go to that student, we will have access to the transfer scores page because he transferred from one class to another. Now, in an example like this, we may not be interested in looking at or transferring his assignments from Science 8 because they may not apply to chemistry. But in case you haven't seen the transfer scores page before, this is a screen that we can use so that when a student transfers from one section to another or one class to another, as you can see here, even if it's between different schools and different teachers, the incoming teacher can still see that past work. Now, you'll notice that the From class is a drop-down menu as well, and that's because, as you'll recall, we dropped two classes, Science and Woodworking. So again, in this example, the teacher might be interested in looking at their work in science and not really interested in what happened in woodworking. But this is just the way the screen works. Whatever classes were dropped, the incoming teacher can see. So if a student moved and transferred completely from one middle school to the other, one high school to the other, and they dropped all their classes when they did that, the receiving teacher would be able to look at and align with all their classes. Because again, the system doesn't necessarily know that there's a match from Science 8 to Chemistry, or from Math 6 to a different middle school level math course. And again, we can see the current term's assignments, future term, and then the semester overall. So if we wanted to look at all of their assignments for the semester in Science 8, what was their overall course grade? Again, we might take that into consideration as we're trying to put in some type of Q1 work as they come in Q2 or something like that. So again, it's really up to the receiving teacher to decide how they want to use that information. But it will go ahead and, let's just go back to Q2, show the assignments that they had in the other class in Science 8, their score, the score type, so the teacher can see the reference for 37 points out of what. And then this would be a chance to see the assignments in my class here in chemistry. And if I thought there was an alignment, again, which typically happens more when a student's moving from one section of chemistry to another for, scheduling purposes or something like that, you're much more likely to have, a link between or a similar assignment actually between classes. So the teacher may or may not need or use the transfer screen, but it's there for them should they want to do so. If we did choose an assignment, let's just map classwork number 5 to this assignment number 5. Then we'll get a little icon here in the details column, and that would kind of do a breakdown for me of what did they have before. So they had 39 out of 50, which in the middle school grade scale was a 78% C+. Again, we might have different grade scales between these courses, sections, or schools. So we can see it's letting us know we're copying to a new blank score, so there's no overwriting possibly happening. The grade scales actually are the same between the two schools. If they weren't, again, we would have that note and maybe some differences. But we do have a mismatch. So the prior class, as we can see, had some standard scores. So if we wanted to look at that, it's not going to show us the standard that was linked, but we can see the score that they had. So again, if the standards are different between the classes, it's going to let us know those issues as well. It's not able to transfer the standard score because it doesn't apply, for example. So that is the transfer scores page and what that looks like for a teacher in the Power Teacher Pro gradebook. So again, that's just one of several available student screens. The key thing to note is that it's not listed here in this view. Once we select the student, it's in the drop-down list of screens. So we can get to it from here, but not the main left menus. Just kind of keep that in mind if you're giving advice to your teachers. So those are the